Think about any big company. You've got this constant flow of people coming and going, right? New hires, partners, temporary guests. They all need access to digital stuff, and usually they need it yesterday. But how do you actually manage that constant churn? How do you make sure everyone plays by the rules and that their access disappears the second they don't need it anymore? I'll tell you, trying to handle all that by hand, it's not just a headache, it's pretty much impossible.
And just think about the scale of that. We're talking about a global workforce, potentially thousands of people. You need a legally binding yes to your company's policies from every single person, every single time. So how do you automate that digital handshake without gumming up the works for everyone trying to get their job done?
Okay, so getting people in is one thing. But what about, getting them out? Every temporary account you create for a contractor or a partner is a potential security hole just waiting to happen if it's left open after their project is over. So who's in charge of cleaning up all those digital loose ends? And that is where automation becomes an absolute game changer. In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on the systems that manage this entire lifecycle. We'll use Microsoft Entra Identity Governance to really see how organizations can build a digital front door that's both super welcoming and incredibly secure. All right, so first things first, let's talk about that initial welcome. How does a company make absolutely sure that every single person who logs in for the very first time has seen and agreed to the terms and conditions? This is that first crucial digital handshake. So to make this real, let's follow a new hire. We'll call her Adele. It's our first day, she's got her new login details, and she goes to sign in for the very first time. What does she see? Before Adele can even dream of seeing her inbox, she's presented with this, a Terms of Use policy. Now, this isn't just some random pop-up you can click away from. Nope. This is a formal process designed specifically to present legal or compliance information. The really important part is, it's the official, auditable way for the company to get that necessary sign-off from every user. So you might be wondering, how does this thing just appear for Adele? Well, an administrator sets it all up behind the scenes. It's pretty straightforward. They give the policy a name, they upload the official legal doc, they tweak a few settings for how the user's going to interact with it, and then, boom, they assign it to specific groups. In this case, to all new employees, just like Adele. And check this out. The admin has some really powerful controls here. They can actually require users to physically expand and scroll through the entire document, so nobody can ever say, "Oh, I didn't see it." They can also demand consent on every single device a person uses, which seriously amps up the security. And of course, they get to set the official policy name that the user sees. So for Adele, this is what it all boils down to. After she's reviewed the terms, her options are crystal clear: accept or decline. If she hits accept, she's in. If she declines, she's blocked from going any further, and the policy will just pop right back up the next time she tries to log in. Yeah, there's no getting around it. Okay, so Adele's in, she's accepted the terms, she's working away. But what happens 6 months down the line when the company updates its data privacy policy? You see, getting that consent just once isn't enough. It has to be a living, breathing process. So here's the next big hurdle, right? How do you get every single employee, from the CEO down to the newest person who just started, to reconsent to an updated policy? The old way was just a mess. A storm of emails, people trying to track this in spreadsheets, a total nightmare. Well, the system has two really smart, automated ways to handle this. You can either put everyone on the same fixed schedule, or you can give each person their own individual countdown timer. Let's break down how each of these works. So, option 1 is the fixed schedule. Let's say the admin sets a monthly expiration starting on February 1st. Alice accepts on January 1st, so her consent naturally expires on Feb 1st. But look at Bob. He accepts 2 weeks later, on the 15th, and his consent also expires on February 1st. See? The big benefit here is that everyone's consent resets on the exact same day, which is awesome for company-wide compliance checks. Okay, now for option 2, the personal timer. This one works a little differently. Here, the admin sets a duration, like, say, 30 days. Now, every single user is on their own personal clock. Alice accepts on January 1st, so her consent expires 30 days later. Bob accepts on the 15th, and his consent expires 30 days after his acceptance date. This offers a bit more flexibility for the end user. Okay, so far we've been talking about permanent employees, like Adele. But what about everyone else who needs access? The contractors, the vendors, the partners who are only supposed to be around for a little while. This is where automated governance becomes even more critical.
And this is where you really see the power of having one system to rule them all. The same automated tools that handle the terms of use for employees can also manage the entire lifecycle of external guests from the moment they're invited all the way to their automated removal. Which brings us to what might be the single most important security piece of this whole puzzle, making sure that when a guest's project is done, their access is done too. We're talking about a clean, automated exit. I mean, this is a question that keeps security teams up at night. Think about it. A contractor finishes their project on a Friday. Should their account still be active come Monday morning? Leaving these old, unused accounts open creates what we call ghost accounts, and they're just a massive security risk waiting to be exploited. So the system gives admins two main paths to choose from. They can just block the user's sign-in. This means the account is still there, which is handy if you think that person might come back for another project soon. Or, for a much cleaner break, they can choose to remove the user. This blocks them right away and then automatically deletes their account after a certain amount of time. And get this, admins have total control over this removal timeline. The default is 30 days, which kind of acts as a grace period. But for really high security situations, an admin can crank this number all the way down to 0. That means the second their access expires, poof, their account is gone, instantly. So what this all creates is this really clear, automated, and totally predictable life cycle. The moment a guest's last bit of access expires, the clock starts ticking. Their ability to sign in gets blocked, and then, after the number of days you've set, their account is permanently removed. No manual work and absolutely no forgotten accounts. Okay, so we've covered the digital handshake for getting in and the automated goodbye for getting out, but let's zoom out for a second. Why does all this automation actually matter? What's the big picture here? At the end of the day, it's all about treating that manual, chaotic process for automated control. First, it makes sure you're covered, legally and for compliance, because every user has to agree to the rules. It massively reduces security risks by getting rid of those dangerous ghost accounts. It makes onboarding and offboarding way more efficient. And maybe most importantly, it gives you a perfect audit trail so you can always see who agreed to what and exactly when they did it. So in the end, this kind of automation isn't just about making life easier for your IT team. It's about fundamentally strengthening your security. And it forces you to ask the question, is your organization's digital front door truly managed and locked down? Or are there old, forgotten keys still floating around out there?
Lab will go through terms of use and acceptance reporting. So Microsoft Entra team, like terms of use policies, provides a simple method that the organization can use to present information to end users. Mm, This presentation ensures users see relevant disclaimers for legal or compliance requirements. So the first exercise, we are going to set up a term of use and test them, and task underneath that is add terms of use. Then create the conditional access policy. After that, log in as a separate user, Adele. And then what terms of user looks like for users to see, and how users can review their terms of use. And we can also edit the terms of use. So let's start the lab now. So here I have already connected to Microsoft Entra Admin Center. So on your left side, you can see that section ID governance, and then there is option or menu entitle like entitlement management. Select that option. Now, if you go down below, you can see the terms of use. Select the terms of use option or menu. Now click on new terms. Then give a name. Then you can see the terms of documents. There are a few options. Upload required PDF. So let's upload the files, all files. And this is the link like I have shared into description section. You can go there and there is your option to download your files for this lab. And you can download to use this labs, lab 26 and this PDF file. Click open. Now here display name, give a display name here. So this is the title that users see when they sign in. And this name is the terms of use that will be used in the Azure portal. And users will see this one. Then you can see that add a language, select a language. No, not that one. If I select add a language, so it's coming different. No, okay, that's maybe down one. So you can users to expand the terms of use. Select on. Then requires users to consent on every device. No, we don't want that one. Expire consent, that we can set that up. So select that on. And here you can select that the expiry date. So expire settings on, if certain date. Let 9th. Then frequency, you can select monthly, annually, quarterly. So select that monthly. No, this is going on expire setting on. Uh, expire setting on from, we can select the today's date as per lab. So it will start from today. And then it's coming expire starting on today. Frequency, duration before accepting required days. So we can just give some days here. So duration before re-acceptance required. So you just need to re-consent every specified number of days. So let me add that one every 30 days. Next, conditional access. Select here custom policy. Select the users and groups will be applied to. So it's going to the option wise. Okay, document. Selected file, everything's here. Add language. So that option is not still enabled. So what the custom policy, which option is missing here? You have give this value here, this value here. Select default language. Let's select the English here. Yes. So because of that, generate enable. So now click that option, create button. It goes into conditional access policy. So give a conditional access policy name and assignments. Let's select the user. We are selecting Adele Vance and then select. Then target resource, select that options. Here you select that all resources, formerly all cloud apps. Under access controls, select that grant options. And here we are going to select Contoso Terms of Grant Access. So select that under grant, select that testing terms of use. Select, and to enable policy, select that on options and then click on create button. So terms of use documents details, you can see that on here, and also language and version history. You can also see that PDF from here. So this is a sample document. So now let's open a in private window and connect as Adele user. Let me log in there. So here we can see that if you click on audit logs, and you can see who actually take that terms of use policy. You can get that information, and you can also download for a reporting purpose. So when we create that one, you just need to accept to log into the systems. And now, how actually users can review their terms of uses. So for that, let's open a new tab. It's better to open private window as a user perspective. Let me log in there. So login user is Adele Vance, and you can see the applications here. And now here is click on view account. And on your left side, you can see that settings and privacy. And when you see that settings and privacy page, select the privacy tab. And here you can see that organization notice. And there is a Contoso Terms of Use. You can click on view to get the details. Now, if you'd like to edit some details of terms of use, uh, then you cannot modify an existing document. So let's do that part now. So when I have connected into Microsoft Entra, so now to edit the terms of use space, let's go back to Identity Governance page, then use the terms of use space, and you can see that there is an edit. If I select that item, there is a edit terms option is there. So you can see that name and display name, and request users to explain the terms of use. This is on update and existing, like you can see these options. Then there is a update option, so we can just select update, and here we can just go with the new page. For example, if this is some modification is this page, we can just select that page and click on open. So that has been uploaded, and because I have changed, so I need to put that require re-accept, and then click add. Then you see that when you do actually, then you can just do off, on, off. You can just to explain these terms of use on. Then you can do also, like different language if you want, and then click save button to enable that new terms of conditions. So that's all for this lab. If you have any questions, add that into comment section. Otherwise, I'll see you into next lab. We'll go through manage the life cycle of external users in Microsoft Entra Identity Governance settings. So this lab is very tiny lab, mm, or we will say only 5 minutes. So just only settings to go through. So let me log in here. I have already logged into Azure Intra. So then you need to go to Identity Governance section and then select the options is Entitlement Management. Now here, select the Settings option. So you need to actually go to Control Configuration options under Entitle Management. And here you see that the different options available. So for this lab, we are going to Lifecycle of external users. Select that use settings. So here you can see that these settings determine what happens when an external user who has added to your identity through an access package request loses their last assignment to any access package. So the option is here, like you select to remove external users and then block external user from the signing into the directory. And last option is number of days before removing external users from directory. So once an external user loses their last assignment to any access packages, it will be remove their guest user account in this directory. Therefore, we select yes options here. Now, if we want to remove the guest user account in this directory, we can set the number of days before it is removed. But if we want to remove the guest user account as soon as they lose their last assignment to any access package, we can just select that to 0 and then click on Save button. So that's it for this lab, just to setting the configuration.